My friend, take a breath and be still for a moment. God is whispering to your heart right now. Relax. Everything you've been hoping for is already on its way. The prayers you've spoken, the answers you've longed for, the peace your soul has been craving, all of it is unfolding beautifully under His perfect timing. You've wept, you've wrestled, you've waited, and maybe at times it felt like heaven was silent, but God has never overlooked you. The delay was not rejection, it was preparation. What's written for you cannot be erased, and what's meant for you will arrive right on schedule at the exact moment God has appointed. There are seasons when everything feels motionless. You pray, yet nothing shifts. You give your best, but doors stay closed. You watch others receive blessings while you keep waiting. But here's the truth that changes everything. God never overlooks those who stay faithful through the waiting. You might think nothing is happening, but God is behind the scenes, aligning every detail, preparing every opportunity, softening hearts, moving mountains you cannot even see. The silence of God is not the absence of God. It is the space where your faith is tested, stretched, and strengthened. So many people panic in the waiting. They lose their peace when they can't see the plan. But God never asked you to understand everything. He asked you to trust Him. Faith doesn't mean you will see the path clearly. It means you keep walking even when you can't see beyond the next step. And when you feel weary, when you feel like giving up, remember this: God did not bring you this far to abandon you now. He has a purpose for every delay, every disappointment, every door that closed in your face. Sometimes God closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you from what could have destroyed you. When God says, relax, He's not telling you to stop working. He's telling you to stop worrying. He's saying, rest in me. Stop trying to control what only I can handle. Stop carrying burdens that I never asked you to carry. Stop replaying what went wrong and start trusting what I am making right. The moment you surrender your fear to God, peace begins to flow like a river into your soul. That's why peace is not found in control, it's found in surrender. You see, many people pray but never truly release. They say, God, I trust you. But in the next breath, they worry again. They pray for an answer and then panic when they don't see it instantly. But true faith says, God, I trust your timing more than I trust my impatience. True faith says, even if I can't see it yet, I know it's already in motion. When you believe that everything God promised will come to pass, you stop striving and start resting. You stop chasing and start trusting, because what belongs to you will never miss you, and what's meant for you won't go to someone else. Sometimes God will even let certain things slip away from your hands because He knows you deserve better. You may think you lost something important, but God sees the full picture. You didn't lose it. You were saved from it. That person who walked away, that opportunity that didn't work out, that plan that fell apart, it was all part of the divine rearrangement. God had to move some things out of your life to make room for what's coming next. Don't cry over what He removed. Rejoice over what He's making space for. There will come a time when everything will make sense. You'll look back and say, now I understand why that had to happen, because what feels like a setback now is actually the setup for your next breakthrough. When God says, relax, He means that no power on earth can stop what He has planned for you. You don't need to chase what's already written in your destiny. All you need to do is remain faithful, obedient, and at peace, because anxiety never speeds up God's timing. It only drains your spirit. God is saying to you, calm your heart. You've worried enough. You've cried enough. You've stressed enough. Let me handle what you can't. Your sleepless nights will turn into peaceful morning. Your confusion will turn into clarity. Your tears will turn into testimonies, because every storm runs out of rain, and every delay runs out of time. God's promises don't expire. They manifest when your faith matures. The enemy loves to whisper that nothing is changing, that you've wasted your years, that you've missed your chance. But he's a liar. You are not behind. You're right on schedule with God's plan. You are not forgotten. You are being prepared. When it feels like nothing is moving, remember that roots grow in silence. Before a tree stands tall, it grows deep underground. Before your blessings rise, your foundation must be strengthened. God is rooting you in faith, so when the blessings come, you'll have the strength to carry them. You see, the waiting is not wasted. It's in the waiting that God teaches you patience. It's in the waiting that He teaches you surrender. It's in the waiting that He molds your character, purifies your motives, and prepares your heart to handle what's coming. Because what good is a blessing if your spirit isn't ready for it? God doesn't just want to bless you, He wants to build you. He wants to shape you into the kind of person who can carry His favor with humility, not pride. There's a peace that comes when you realize you're not in control, but God is. The moment you stop fighting the process and start flowing with His plan, you find rest. You realize that you don't have to beg God to bless you. He already planned to. You don't have to convince God to open doors. He already prepared them. You just have to trust that everything that belongs to you will arrive at the exact moment you're ready to receive it. So breathe, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that God is in charge. You don't need to rush what He's already written. You don't need to compare your journey to anyone else's. You don't need to panic about how or when things will happen. God's timing is perfect. When the time is right, everything will fall into place so beautifully that you'll stand in awe and say, "Only God could have done this." The blessings you've prayed for, the healing you've longed for, the peace you've searched for, it's all coming your way. Not by force, not by manipulation, not by luck, but by divine orchestration. God knows exactly how to bring what belongs to you into your life. He knows who needs to walk in, what needs to align, and what needs to end. You don't have to chase. He will cause it to come to you. When you stay in peace, you stay in position. God doesn't want you to live in panic. He wants you to live in peace. He wants you to wake up in the morning with confidence that something good is on its way. He wants you to go through your day knowing that even if you don't see the full picture, He's already painted it. The same God who parted the sea, who fed the hungry, who calmed the storm, is the same God working in your situation. The same hand that holds the universe holds your future. That's why you can relax. You can rest knowing that the one who made the stars is guiding your steps. You can rest knowing that every delay serves a divine purpose. You can rest knowing that God has already written the final chapter and it ends in victory. You may not understand the path you're walking, but you can trust the one who laid it before you. There comes a time when your soul must learn to rest, even in uncertainty. That's what God is trying to teach you right now. When He says relax, He is not ignoring your pain. He is inviting you into His peace. He is saying, let go of the struggle to understand everything because I already have everything under control. You see, faith doesn't grow in comfort. Faith grows in chaos. Faith grows when you stand in the middle of a storm, yet your heart refuses to panic, because deep down you know God still reigns. The world might shake, people might fail, but the hand of God never trembles. His timing never falters. His purpose never collapses. Sometimes you have to sit still in the middle of your worry and declare, God, I trust you even when I don't see how. Because trust is not built on explanations, it's built on revelation. And the greatest revelation you can ever have is that God knows what He's doing, even when you don't. He doesn't owe you details. He offers you peace. The same God who made the sunrise without your permission will fulfill His promise without your understanding. You may not see the logic, but you will see the result. When you're anxious, you're trying to live tomorrow while still standing in today. But when you trust God, you learn to rest in the present moment, knowing that He's already in your tomorrow, preparing the way. He has seen your tears. He has heard your prayers. He knows your worries before you even speak them. And because He knows you don't have to carry them anymore, you were never meant to live heavy. You were meant to walk in faith. There's a reason God tells you to be still, because movement without direction leads to exhaustion. Many people wear themselves out trying to make things happen before their time. They push doors that were never theirs to open, and they force relationships that were never meant to last. But when you trust God, you stop striving for what He has already promised. You understand that divine timing cannot be rushed. What is ordained by God will arrive precisely when it's meant to, not a minute sooner, not a second later. That's why you must not mistake waiting for wasting. When God makes you wait, it's because He's building something within you that can sustain what He's about to give you. If He gave you everything you prayed for too soon, it might destroy you instead of bless you. So, He waits until your heart is strong enough to handle His goodness. He waits until your character is shaped enough to carry His favor. And when he sees you are ready, he releases what was already yours. You see, the journey itself is a divine classroom. Every delay is a lesson, every disappointment, a teacher, every closed door, a redirection from God. You might not like the process, but the process is preparing you for the promise. The pain that once confused you will one day make sense. You will understand that God never took anything from you that was meant to stay. He only removed what was hindering what's ahead. The moment you stop fighting his process, peace floods your spirit. Relax. Because God is not limited by what limits you. He can use what you thought was your biggest mistake and turn it into your greatest miracle. He can take what broke you and make it the foundation for your breakthrough. He can bring beauty out of ashes, strength out of weakness, and purpose out of pain. What seems like an ending to you might actually be the beginning of something sacred that only God could orchestrate. He is the master planner. Nothing in your life is random. Every person you met, every trial you faced, every door that opened and closed, each was part of a divine pattern leading you exactly where you need to be. So when things don't make sense, stop asking why and start saying, I trust you, God. Because the why belongs to the past, but trust belongs to the future. You don't need to know everything to walk in peace. You just need to know that God is faithful, and his faithfulness never expires. The same God who provided for you yesterday will provide for you again. The same God who healed you once can heal you again. The same God who lifted you before will lift you higher than you've ever been. Relax, because you're not running out of time. God is aligning your time. You may feel like life is passing you by, but the truth is, God is reserving something better for you. Sometimes he delays not to deny you, but to deliver you from settling. He wants you to have the best, not just what's available. You may think you're ready, but God knows when the season is right. So while you're waiting, praise him in advance. Worship before you see the result. Thank him not for what you have, but for what's coming. Because gratitude in the waiting invites miracles into motion. There's a peace that comes when you stop chasing what's not yours. So many lose sleep over things that were never written for them. But when you learn to release control, you step into divine flow. The doors that are meant for you will open without you knocking. The opportunities that are designed for you will find their way to you. Even if you're hidden, God doesn't need your anxiety to bless you. He needs your obedience. He doesn't need your panic. He needs your peace, because faith and fear cannot live in the same heart. The enemy knows this, which is why his greatest weapon is not destruction, but distraction. He tries to make you doubt God's timing, to make you compare your life with others, to make you question if you're forgotten. But remember this truth. The enemy attacks hardest before the breakthrough. The moment you feel the most pressure, the most confusion, the most silence, know that something is about to shift. God always brings clarity after chaos, light after darkness, peace after the storm. So when everything feels uncertain, lift your head high and whisper, I will not be shaken, for God is working on my behalf. Even when you can't trace him, you can trust him. Even when you can't see his hand, you can feel his presence. And when he finally moves, it will happen so suddenly that you'll forget the years of waiting. Every tear you cried will become the water that nourishes your harvest. Every delay will turn into divine acceleration. Every no you heard will make sense when God's yes arrives in full power. Relax, because God has a way of doing things that no human mind can comprehend. He can turn the heart of a king, move the course of a river, change the direction of a wind, all to favor one obedient soul. He can position you in the right place at the right time before the right people. You don't need to chase influence, you need to chase peace. Because when you're at peace with God, you walk in alignment with destiny. You start attracting what was already meant for you. And let me tell you this, what is meant for you will never miss you. You can't lose it. You can't ruin it. You can't mess it up when you're walking with God. Because God's blessings are not dependent on your perfection. They're dependent on his plan. Even when you make mistakes, he weaves them into the story. Even when you fall, he turns the fall into foundation. You may feel broken, but broken pieces still fit in his masterpiece. Sometimes before God blesses you, He has to quiet you. He silences the noise around you so you can hear His whisper. He slows you down so you can walk in step with His rhythm. Don't mistake stillness for stagnation. When God stills your spirit, it's because He's aligning your heart. He's preparing you for the blessings that require maturity, discipline, and faith to sustain. When you relax in faith, you make room for miracles. Anxiety clutters the soul, but peace creates space for divine flow. God works best in hearts that are still, not in hearts that are scattered. So, calm your thoughts. The same God who painted the stars in the night sky and commands the ocean's waves knows exactly what you need. He knows where your provision will come from. He knows who will help you. He knows when to move. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not abandoned. God's eyes have been on you since the beginning. Every step you took, He was there. Every time you fell, He was there. Every time you doubted, He still believed in the destiny He placed within you. That's why He's telling you, relax, because the fight is almost over. The season of pressure is turning into a season of purpose. The confusion is giving way to clarity. The pain is giving birth to power. You don't need to force what God is about to release. The blessing will come quietly, naturally, and powerfully. It will feel effortless because you're no longer fighting against the flow. You're moving with it. You'll wake up one day and realize the prayers you once cried over have become your reality. The very things that once worried you will no longer move you. Because when you've seen God's hand move in your life, fear loses its grip forever. There is a sacred calm that comes when your soul truly surrenders to God. It is not weakness. It is power under divine control. When you stop wrestling with your own timeline and start flowing with His, life begins to align in ways you never thought possible. What once seemed delayed begins to make sense. The confusion turns into clarity, and what once felt like rejection reveals itself as redirection. God's hand was never against you. It was guiding you. The pain that broke you was the tool He used to shape you into someone who could carry more light, more wisdom, more peace. When God says, relax, it's all coming your way. He is inviting you to see life from His higher view. You see, we look at life through the lens of fear, but God sees through eternity. You see only what's in front of you, but God sees every path that connects your beginning to your blessing. What you call a setback, He calls a setup. What you think is a loss, He knows is protection. There are people who left you because God heard conversations you didn't. There are doors that close because what was behind them could have destroyed your peace. There are opportunities that slipped away because they were traps in disguise. God's no was not cruelty, it was mercy. And when you realize this, you stop mourning over what didn't work and start praising God for what didn't happen. You may think your life is slowed down, but God is never in a hurry, and He's never late. His timing is not measured by your clock, it's measured by your readiness. And when He decides the moment has come, nothing can stop the blessing. Not time, not distance, not people, not even the mistakes of your past. Because when God declares something for you, it becomes law in the spiritual realm. No force can revoke what He has decreed. That's why you must walk in peace, because your destiny is already sealed by His promise. You see, when you panic, you're saying you don't trust His control. When you relax, you're declaring your faith in His sovereignty. That's why peace is not a sign of weakness, it's a declaration of strength. Anyone can panic, but only a soul anchored in God can be still while the storm rages. Anyone can complain, but only the faithful can say, I don't see it yet, but I know it's coming. That's the posture that moves mountains. That's the faith that invites divine acceleration. Do not think God has forgotten you. The silence you feel is not abandonment, it's strategy. When God is quiet, it's because He's working on something too great for you to see right now. You don't dig up a seed every day to see if it's growing. You water it, you trust the process, and you wait for the fruit. That's how faith works. You planted prayers, and though you don't see anything above the surface, something powerful is happening beneath. Roots are growing deep beneath the surface. foundations are being fortified, and when the moment arrives, the harvest will overflow so powerfully that every doubt you ever held will be silenced. Some of you are weary because you've been fighting battles that were never yours to fight. You've been trying to mend what only God can restore, forcing open doors that only He can unlock. You've been praying yet still worrying, believing yet still questioning. It's time to release it, not as surrender to defeat, but as surrender to divine hands. There's a peace that comes only when you whisper, "God, I'm done trying to control this, but I trust that you can." That's the moment heaven begins to move. God waits for your release before He brings your release. So rest, sir, because the favor written for your life is already pursuing you. The right people are being positioned, the right doors are being shaped, and the right timing is falling perfectly into place. You don't need to compete or compare. Comparison is the thief of contentment. You're not behind anyone. You're walking your own divine schedule. The path that God designed for you cannot be measured against anyone else's timeline. Someone else may have reached their season before you, but your spring is coming, and when it does, it will make sense why you had to go through every winter. Sometimes God withholds what you want to give you, what you need. He delays certain things to teach you to depend on Him, not on outcomes. Because if He gave you everything you prayed for the moment you asked, your faith would remain shallow. But by waiting, you learn endurance. By enduring, you learn strength. And by standing firm, you become unshakable. That's how God grows champions. Through pressure, through patience, through persistence. The blessings that last are the ones built through testing. You must understand this. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of God in the middle of them. You can have chaos around you but still be calm within. Because when your faith is rooted in God, storms lose their power to shake you. You may bend, but you won't break. You may weep, but you won't quit, because deep within you know God is still writing your story. The enemy can attack, but he cannot alter what God has already ordained. When God says, relax, He is calling you to stop living in reaction to fear and start living in response to faith. Every time you choose peace over panic, you're declaring that your trust is not in circumstances, it's in God. Every time you refuse to complain and instead say thank you, you are lining yourself with the rhythm of blessing. Gratitude attracts favor, worry repels it. So guard your thoughts, because the battlefield is always in the mind. You see, your thoughts create your atmosphere. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear will follow. But if your heart is filled with trust, peace will surround you. That's why God often removes noise before revealing destiny. He separates you from confusion, from distraction, from people who drain your spirit. Sometimes isolation is not rejection, it's preparation. God pulls you aside so He can pour into you privately what will elevate you publicly. So don't curse the quiet season. It's where your power is being born. The reason God tells you to rest is because He's about to show you His strength. You've done all you could. Now it's His turn. You fought. You tried. You pushed. But now He says, stand back and see what I can do. When you stop striving, God starts working. When you surrender, He releases. When you let go, He steps in. You are never meant to carry this weight alone. The hands that form the mountains are more than capable of holding your burden. Relax, because no mistake is too great for God to redeem. No detour can cancel destiny. Even the things you regret can be recycled into purpose. God wastes nothing. Not your tears, not your trials, not your pain. Everything you've been through is being woven into something beautiful. The road that broke you is the same one that will bless you. The places that wounded you are the same ones that will witness your recovery. That's how God works. He turns mourning into strength and ashes into wisdom. Sometimes you won't understand what He's doing until it's done. But when it's done, you'll be overwhelmed by how perfectly everything fit together. The people who left, the moments that hurt, the seasons that seemed unfair, all of it was necessary to bring you here, because before God brings abundance, He brings alignment. Before He blesses your life, He blesses your vision. He wants you to see clearly that everything you need is already written in His plan. There is something sacred about peace that cannot be shaken. It is not the calm of a quiet world. It is the calm of a grounded soul. It is the strength to remain steady when everything else trembles. That is the kind of peace God gives to those who trust Him. It does not come from money, it does not come from people, and it does not come from success. It flows from surrender. When you release your plans and say, God, I'm tired of trying to control what only you can do, that's when peace begins to rule your heart.